Hi everyone. Today my partners and I will be presenting the high school research project Crabbing Responsibly at Barnegat Bay, otherwise known as CRABB. To begin, we just wanted to introduce ourselves and the towns we are from. So my name is Alessandro Barlotta and I'm from Jackson.
My name is Lexi Pereira and I'm from Toms River.
My name is Molly Lotta and I'm from Point Pleasant.
My name is John Philip Ostapovich and I'm from Bayville.
So currently, CRABB consists of 4 seniors and 7 MATES alumni who live in various towns across Ocean County. For anyone who is unfamiliar with MATES or the Marine Academy of Technology and Environmental Science, we are a marine science-based vocational high school located in Manahawkin, New Jersey. Basically, CRABB is a research initiative that aims to protect crabbing in the Barnegat Bay. It is a continuation of the past MATES NOAA project and a part of Project Terrapin. Crabbing in the Barnegat Bay accounts for over 30% of marine fishing activity. However, before our project, there was little to no data pertaining to crabbing within such a valuable ecosystem.
Here's just an overall of some of the original goals we had when we first started our project. So our team wanted to learn about current crabbing practices, look at how recreational crabbing is trending in the Barnegat Bay, assess the changes over time, and try to protect crabbing practices for the future. Additionally, we wanted to make sure that individuals completing the surveys were aware that we did not want to make significant changes in crabbing, but instead wanted to collect data and feedback regarding the past and present of crabbing.
Moving on to how our team conducted our research, we created a survey consisting of 23 questions that took about 5 to 10 minutes for crabbers to complete. After pushing the survey out to the public from February 2019 to January 2020, we received 1,024 responses, exceeding our goal of 1,000. The topics that were addressed on the survey included background information about each individual, how much do people invest in crabbing, crabbing methods and practices, testing the knowledge of recreational crabbers, success with crabbing, and changes in crabbing over time.
And here's an example of what respondents would be given, whether it was a in-person survey, back when we could do in-person surveys, or the Google Forms link, which was also listed on the flyers. To advertise our survey, we approached people directly at events, posted flyers in crabbing locations throughout the county, and spread the flyer online through social media such as Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, and the Blue Crab Forum.
Once all responses were collected, each individual from our team chose a specific topic to analyze. To begin, one of the most important questions was the open-ended response. The question was, do you think crabbing has changed over time? If so, how? Specifically in terms of the quality of crabbing or people's general interest in crabbing. This question really gave the individual completing the survey a chance to let us know their opinion about crabbing based on personal experience. To analyze the comments, we grouped them into 4 general categories based on the response's subject matter and view on crabbing, being positive, negative, neutral, or no answer. For the positive comments, there were 5 subcategories that we organized everything into. Many people described how regulations have increased and people are more likely to follow them. The majority of the positive comments had to do with people's interest in crabbing. Out of 94 comments, there were 41. The majority of the responses described how people's interest in crabbing has increased over the past years and more people are beginning to crab. On the other hand, for the negative comments, there were 6 subcategories as displayed on the graph. In this graph, it is clear that most responses related to issues such as decreasing in the crab population and decreases in the size of the crabs themselves. Moreover, responses generally stated that the size of crabs caught was less than the legal size of 4.5 inches, with 249 out of 434 responses relating to this. The second greatest quantity was seen in the people/interest category with 90 responses out of 434, showing that many people believe that the interest in this activity has diminished. Additionally, it was found that many people were using crab pots and overnet equipment, which catch unnecessary amounts of crabs, decreasing the populations over time.
And this map shows the specific locations where the participants said they crabbed. As you can see, it spans all throughout Ocean County. And this is the age distribution of the respondents divided into 9 categories. The majority of crabbers were ages 50 to 59, with the next highest percentage being under the age of 18. This shows that children and adults aged 40 to 60 tend to crab more, and fewer people crab as they get older. Here we focused on different places where people crab to see which females or males would prefer. These include the shoreline, boats, docks, bridges, and bulkheads, with an open response for others. The other responses were commonly piers and boardwalks. Overall, both males and females use docks as their primary crabbing location, with females preferring them more than men. This might be due to the fact that docks are more stable and organized areas. And this shows how long the participants travel to crab, as separated by gender. Both males and females are more likely to travel to their crabbing location if it is less than 10 minutes away, although as travel time increases, there's a tendency for males to travel for a longer time to reach their location. Overall, most people enjoy crabbing in areas near to them. And this graph is again part of an analysis focused on the participants' genders. The frequency of crabbing depicted here shows that females are more likely to crab 1 to 2 times a season, whereas males crab 3 to 5 times a season. A possible suggestion for the differences here is that it could be a result of fathers taking their sons out to crab more often than their daughters, who then continue to crab more as they grow older.
So this is an important question we use in our survey. It asked participants to identify the sex of this blue crab. They were given the option to answer male, female, or simply I don't know. If you think you know the answer, keep it in your head until I reveal it on the next slide. So as you can see here, the correct answer was female. The majority of the 1,024 responses, which was more than 700 people, answered correctly. The other about 290 people answered either male or I don't know, showing that a large majority of people knew the sex of the crab. Here, you can see that both genders were more likely to know the correct answer. However, males were more likely to respond correctly, and the females were more likely to answer honestly that they did not know. This graph focuses on the amount of correct answers for the question regarding the sex of the blue crab based on the ages of the participants. It is clear that quite a significant difference was found between the differences of the ages. As the ages increased, more participants answered the question correctly, as you can see in the ages 40 through 49, 50 through 59, and 60 through 69.
This map demonstrates the age group that made up the majority of each township in Ocean County. The areas in which high populations of crabbers aged under 18 are probably due to activities within those areas that are aimed more towards that age group. As for older groups, they are concentrated in towns that are most known to be used for retirement homes. Older age groups tend to prefer hand lines, whereas younger ones prefer crab traps. Crab traps are typically more convenient to catch crabs, catering to us young people, but hand lines are more time-consuming and necessitate focus. This graph is a distribution of regulation size respondents, and the majority of respondents did not know the correct regulation size. About 10% of respondents thought the size was below regulation size, and about 30% of respondents did not know there was a regulation size. Conversely, a bit more than 30% of respondents did know the correct regulation size. Now here is a breakdown of major population centers in the county: Barnegat, Little Lake Harbor, Tuckerton, Brick Township, and Toms River in terms of answers for regulations. Many people in Brick Township do not believe there is a regulation. However, in Toms River, about the same number of respondents believe there were no regulations as compared to those who did know the correct regulation size. Regional regulation data is important to gather as it can be used by government agencies and other organizations to determine where education efforts regarding regulation sizes and other regulations should be directed to. This graph shows the distribution of responses to the question, is there a regulation regarding the minimum size of crabs that are allowed to be kept where you crab? If so, what is it? And it's broken down by age group, with the correct response being 4.5 inches point to point, or any variation of this statement. Error bars of 5% are shown on each bar and used for all variables. Understanding the correct responses in each age group also helps with education and outreach, allowing for specific age-targeted activities and campaigns. This also helps with determining the effectiveness of these age-targeted activities and campaigns as well. This graph shows the average monetary investment across several locations in the county. The highest spent on average by a crabber was $87.50. However, in this case, monetary investment includes supplies for crabbing, bait for crabbing, and gas money if the person is traveling. And here is a map of the townships and boroughs in Ocean County and a legend to explain the values. Red areas spend around $15 or less on crabbing, orange $15 to $30, yellow $30 to $45, green areas $45 to $60, and blue areas $60 to more. It is also important to note that the blue areas without a clearly defined township label do not necessarily mean that that area spends around $60 or more on crabbing. However, it would be a safe bet to assume that the average person living near the Barnegat Bay spends $45 to $50 on crabbing supplies, bait, and gas.
This graph shows the percent of crabs kept during each catch based on the genders of the participants. As you can see, females answered that they were able to keep less than 10% of crabs by a great majority. Males scored quite equally in keeping less than 10% and between 30 and 40%. It is also important to note that as the percent of crabs kept increasing, males were slightly more likely to keep more crabs than females, as you can see in the greater than 90% graph.
One of the questions asked individuals to report what type of bait they use. Options included fish, such as bunker, chicken, and other meat. The results indicated that bunker and fish were used slightly more often than chicken or other meat, with approximately 39% versus 34%. Also, there were a number of respondents who used a combination of crab baits. Overall, there was no significant differences in the bait types used, though.
So working with the data that we collected, we can use our data to come up with possible solutions. Because we know that many crabbers do not know the size regulations, we can display signs like the one pictured at docks around the county to inform the public. This sign here is at a dock in Barnegat Township and shows the crabbing regulations in both English and Spanish. We can also utilize blue crab gauges like the one pictured, which measure crabs to see if they meet the minimal size requirement. Distributing these and having them at docks will cause more people to measure their crabs and determine if they can be kept, effectively helping our crab populations.
So this photo of the crab team was taken at the Jacques Cousteau National Estuarian Research Reserve in Tuckerton, New Jersey, which we were given the opportunity to present our research in last year. So just moving on to acknowledgements, we would really like to thank all of those who helped us work on our project, especially Dr. Wennick and mates for organizing it as a whole. We would also like to thank Ms. Lynette Lurig, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, and Mr. Christopher Claus for their valuable input to our team throughout the entire process. We would also like to thank the Mid-Atlantic chapter of the American Fisheries Society for having us present today. So thank you so much for watching our presentation. And now we would like to be moving on to questions. So does anyone have any questions?